Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just another tinfoil hat. Welcome to my Friday night Screen Screams review, which has not happened for a while. But today, I am here to discuss what spooky movie has captured my attention, spoiler-free, of course. So, dim the lights and let's discuss the show. This week, I'll be discussing This week, I'll be discussing John Carpenter's 1994 creepfest, In the Mouth of Madness, the last of Carpenter's so-called apocalypse trilogy, including The Thing and Prince of Darkness. This week, I'll be discussing John Carpenter's 1994 creepfest John Carpenter's 1994 creepfest, In the Mouth of Madness, the last of his so-called apocalypse trilogy, including The Thing and Prince of Darkness. Now, as fans of cosmic horror have probably already noticed, this title is absolutely, I think it's more than a nod. It's a total call-out to H.P. Lovecraft's novella, At the Mountains of Madness, which is personally, okay, I was almost going to say it's my favorite of his works, but then I thought about, like, Pickman's Model and a few others, and now I can't really make that decision, so it's one of my favorites of his works, and this movie is certainly cosmically horrific, which sounds like the slogan for Unlucky Charms. They're cosmically horrific. Anyway, this movie feels like some sort of mutated love child between the works of H.P. Lovecraft and the works of Stephen King. From the outset, the very first scene nails down that something isn't right. There's some sort of ambiguous disaster swirling around this psychiatric hospital, where we meet the main character of the film, freelance insurance investigator John Trent, who begins to tell the story of how he became involved with Arcane Publishing's attempts to find superstar horror author Sutter Kane. Now, I'm going to be totally honest. Sometimes, starting a movie at the end and then backing up kind of feels like a cheap shot. But in this case, for reasons which kind of become apparent as the movie rolls on, I really enjoyed it. There is no better way to start it, in my opinion, than at the very end. As the narrative flashes back to the beginning of the narrative for Trent, when he's meeting with the owner of the insurance company who connects him with Arcane Publishing's case, you can tell that we're entering an unpleasantly synchronistic world. Right as they're discussing the Kane case, Kane's agent bursts in, axe in hand, demanding to know if Trent reads Sutter Kane. As he begins to investigate, Trent comes to believe that the whole disappearing act is simply a ploy by the publishing house to drive up interest in Kane's new book entitled, get ready for this one folks, In the Mouth of Madness, which the public is already going crazy waiting for. He also comes to find out that Sutter Kane's books have been known to induce psychological effects in so-called less stable readers, and promptly begins reading all of them. After piecing together the covers in this sort of kind of arts and crafts, secret treasure map, he believes that he has found kind of the X that marks the spot where Sutter Kane is located. So he and Kane's editor, Linda Stiles, set off to locate Kane themselves. So if some aspects of this sound honestly kind of like chintzy paperback horror, it's because in a weird way this movie kind of is. However, for one thing, I really love chintzy paperback horror, and for another thing, that sort of is what makes this whole kind of ball of wax feel so much like Trent is trapped. It's just like every move that he makes, trying to bring sense to this case, it just feels like it's leading deeper and deeper into the mouth of madness. Again, this also harkens back to knowing the ending at the beginning of the film. We know that the events of the movie eventually lead Trent to ending up in the psychiatric hospital. It's just kind of finding out how, exactly. 2, the cosmicness of this narrative really is not in the overt representation of monsters or mutated people, even though, of course, it's John Carpenter, so that's fantastic, but in the creeping paranoia of someone trapped in someone else's narrative. However, for as much as I love the subtlety of that sort of thing, there is an unreasonably creepy scene of a person riding a bicycle that still comes back to haunt me if I'm driving on a desolate country road late at night. Well, if you've seen this movie, feel free to offer your opinion in the comments, and if you haven't and want to watch one of John Carpenter's, less celebrated flicks, go ahead and give it a watch. If you want spoilers and to hear my comments on them, check out Just Another Tinfoil Hat on patreon.com to hear part 2 of this video. For today, I am Zelia Edgar, signing off. Wee.